matter where I go, no matter what I do, you're always on my mind.
Secrets, I love you.
Love you as my own. You are so dear to me. That's why you'll always be my home, sweet home. I love Saint-Kitts. You love Saint-Kitts. She loves Saint-Kitts. He loves Saint-Kitts. Long live Saint-Kitts. Viva Saint-Kitts. Viva! Viva! If you're born in this land, let us join hand in hand to save all the nation from the plague of bloodlust politicians. We have to let them know, say this can't end so. All for one and one for all. We cannot let our country fall over.
Saint-Kitts, I love you.
Love you all the time. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, you're always on my mind.
Saint-Kitts, I love you.
Love you as my own. You are so dear to me. That's why you'll always be my home, sweet home. I love Saint-Kitts. You love Saint-Kitts. She loves Saint-Kitts. He loves Saint-Kitts. Long live Saint-Kitts. Viva Saint-Kitts. Viva! Viva! Country above self. Let this be your motto. Remember the friends, comrades?
Hey everybody, this is Lavi of The Real Talk. Tonight, I am so happy to join with two of Saint-Kitts community activists, Dr. Terence Joe and Dwyer Astafan. Dr. Joe is the candidate for constituency number 8 of the Saint-Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And Dwyer Astafan, a former member of the Labour Party. Saint-Kitts and Nevis federal election is June 5th, 2020. As we face this pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to these two gentlemen. Good evening, Mr. Astafan.
Good evening, Lavi. Good evening to your listeners and your viewers.
How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Well, it's an honor having you here, and the viewers are excited. They can't get enough of Dwyer. So, Dwyer, what is it? What is it that you're doing that the people can't get enough of you?
That's not a question you ask a modest gentleman. I don't know. No, I'm just trying to be truthful and to speak truth to power. That's all.
Nice. Could you tell the viewers out there a little bit about yourself? Because I know you're on a different platform. There's a lot of people, diasporas abroad, those in St. Kitts Nevis, and a lot of people don't know of Dwyer Astafan, believe it or not, because you know we're here on the globe. So let the people know who you are and your purpose.
Well, first of all, my purpose is to try to live a decent and righteous life and to be a responsible citizen. I was born in Bastia, St. Kitts, 72 years ago, January 27, 1948. I grew up in Bastia, where I was born, went to school here in Bastia, went to Canada to university, went to England to law school. I've practiced law here. I still am practicing law. I don't do litigation, I just do office work, chamber work. I work in the areas of real estate, business contracts, estate settlements, probates and immigration and that sort of thing. I have been involved in politics. I became a Labour Party candidate in 1992 for the 93 election, which I contested against Dr. Simmons, who was then the Prime Minister. I lost in a close battle. Then the country was in a kind of a stalemate. After the 93 election, it was a 4-4 tie here in St. Kitts. We have 8 seats in St. Kitts and 3 in Nevis. And so, as I said, the country was in a stalemate, political and economic, and very tense. So all of the interest groups gathered at Four Seasons and agreed that the country had to go to fresh elections, which we did in 1995, July the 3rd, I think it was. And I was fortunate to be victorious in that election against the same Dr. Simmons. And the government changed. Our party won 7 of the 8 seats in St. Kitts. I was named Minister of Tourism, Culture and Environment. We were faced with a lot of challenges, hurricanes, the Montserrat volcano, a number of challenges, unemployment. I remember we put up something we call a short-term work experience program, which employed 1,200 people, which is a lot for a little place like this. And the program lasted 9 months. It was very successful. And everybody, almost everybody in the job got permanent work. In fact, some of them reached very high levels in the public and private sector. One of them became, in fact, the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, which is where she started with me in late 95. Then after the 2000 election, I became the minister of, which we won, of course. We won all 8 seats in St. Kitts that year. I became the minister of still tourism, commerce, consumer affairs, telecommunications, and information. Then there were some cabinet reshuffles. Then I ran again in 2004, in which I was after that I was the Minister of National Security, Labor, and Immigration. And for a short time, the Minister of Justice as well. I resigned from the cabinet in 2008, July. The parliamentary term ended in January of 2010, and I retired from active politics. But I continued in my social and political activism, which I do to this day. Of course, as a youngster growing up here, I was involved in sports, mainly cricket and football, both of which I played fairly well. I became an administrator in both games. In cricket, I reached the West Indies Cricket Board as a member and the president of the Leewards Board, Cricket Board. In football, I was the national manager / coach. I was involved in a lot of sport, boxing and other things, and community activities. So I really grew up in the community of Central Bastia and was known in that community all my life. We blended into the community. We were not raised apart from anybody. We were part of the community. So going into politics, I didn't have to change who I was. And politics didn't change me, nor did I have to change when I got out. I'm still the same old me, just 72 years old now. And that's it. I played music as well, was in a band, helped form a band. I've done everything, just about everything.
Well, you have really done a lot, but you have also done a lot for the environment, for St. Kitts and Nevis. So you have a lot of experience and a lot to share. And the people of St. Kitts are really grateful for you. Anything else you want to add to that?
I don't know if there's much more I could add to that. I mean, I'm a church goer. I belong to the Christian faith, but I believe in tolerance. Everybody finds his or her own way to their own salvation and redemption. I try not to dictate to people. I observe, I express my opinions. I try to do so respectfully. I believe that the country is more important than any one of us, or more important than all of us put together, because all of us put together now won't be here forever. So we have to remember we're here just for a little while, and we are stewards for the moment that we live. Absolutely. To try to make it better for our children and future generations. So I try to, and it's not easy because when you're not raised that way, you know, I try my best. When I say raised that way, when I was a small boy being raised, we were more into nature. Nowadays it's not so, but we have to live in harmony with nature before we can live in harmony with each other. You know, and I find there's too much disharmony. And when people express views that are different from you, I don't mean you, Lavi, you tend to get vexed and you take it, as we say, and make an enemy of the person, when the most natural thing in life is for people to have different opinions.
Correct.
And it is the difference of opinions, the variety, that makes life pleasurable and interesting. Imagine if the only flower was a rose, or the only fish was a snapper, or the only bird was a pigeon, or the only color was green. But God gave us this great diversity, and we take it and make enemies of each other from it. And so one of the little things I try to do here in my social activism is to encourage people to think for yourself, but think of others. Learn what you have to learn, be responsible as a citizen, try not to depend on people as much as you can, try to be self-reliant, and hold those who are in office and those who want to be in office, hold their feet to the fire, make them work hard, make them work clean, and keep them accounting to you. And again, when people get into office, they don't like that. So you will find that just about, regardless of who is in office, I am public enemy #1 in the country because I am not hesitant to express my views. As I said, I do so respectfully, but I do so.
Mr. Astafan, listening to you over the years, because I myself have voted for the Labour Party over the years, and I try to be aware and keep abreast of my surroundings when it comes to politics, religion, and anything that is helpful to the human race and the society on a whole. What I'm seeing here from you, growing up as a kid, I could go back as far as 10, 20 years ago. We have not really seen people like you being the advocate and coming out honestly and openly actually educating the public and the younger ones that's coming up. Because there's a lot of people out there afraid to even get into politics or even want to have a contribution in the community is because the way how politics has gone, and I'm just going to talk about St. Kitts because that's what I know of, it has become so gutter that even if you're coming out as a goodwill, people are so afraid. So it is really nice having people like you, you know, having such experience and well-rounded, being here today and sharing back the goodness of what you learn. Being respectful for the country. We need that, especially in a time of this pandemic going forward.
Well, when we were small, we used to learn a lot from the elders. You learn values, you learn the culture, you learn how to conduct yourself, you learn to be respectful, and you learn that hard and honest work is the best way to live. But you also,
with that, Mr. Astafan, we're going to pause for commercial break and we're going to get right back. Just stick a pin and we're going to be right back with you as soon as possible, okay?
Mm-hmm. Great. Great.
Doyen?
Hi.
Remember your last where you stopped? I had to kind of stop you because I wanted to bring.
I understand, darling, no problem.
So you just
don't worry.
For where you was going up, okay?
Mm-hmm. Now don't bother with that. When Dr. Drew comes, you just patch him in. Start with him. Don't waste no time with me. He running for office, not me.
Exactly.
Fine.
Abun, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good evening.
What's up?
A message to you. Okay?
Yes, no problem.
Of course. I had to cut him off shortly so I can bring you in.
Right.
Yeah. How you doing? You must be all busy.
Boy, telling you, I was on the campaign trail, had to run left. You know, sometimes you try to leave, but 10 people will stop you. And you just can't, you know, it's difficult to just leave them hanging.
This is my bird. Visiting her, we visit a lot of our constituents to make sure that things are going well. And she has free air conditioning, that's always good. So out of 6, you know, she's voting one. Number 5. Number 5.
You know what? Honestly, I am so thrilled. I'm really excited to know that, you know, for a local team, you guys came in here. And
anyway,
you know, this is like to me like a surprise.
Thanks for inviting me last night.
And I wish you all the best, you know.
So it means so many people wherever we go, they're saying for the first time that they're signing up to vote, that they're excited about this team, that they want to participate in the Virgin Islands, and more importantly, that they signed on to an agenda for Virgin Islands for all of us. This is Laverne.
Results with a Z.
Visiting her as we visit a lot of our constituents to make sure that things are going well, and she has free air conditioner. That's always good. So on the 6th, you know she's voting what? Number 5. Number 5.
You know what? And honestly, I am so thrilled. I'm really excited to know that, you know, for a local team, you guys came in here, and it wasn't, you know, this is like, to me, like a surprise. And I wish you all the best, you know.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Real Talk. And I apologize for that technical difficulty. But right now we're back on track, and we have Dr. Ju here with us this evening, okay? And we are so excited to have you, Dr. Ju. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Laverne, and I'm very happy to be here with you and to interact with those many persons who always tune into you. I think you are on the pulse when it comes to the issues that affect people and communities and countries and so forth. And I want to congratulate you for what you are doing in terms of public service, in giving information and allowing expression of thought and so forth. So I want to say I'm very elated that you have a show like this, and it has really caught on and making its mark.
Well, I got to tell you, thank you so much. But the whole reason why I decided to do this is for the exact reason what you're just saying. So I'm really excited and happy, along with the viewers out there, that we have here in the presence on Facebook Media, our very own. So the folks are excited to have you. So once again, it's really an honor having you here. So let us go right into it. Tell the people about yourself, or anything that you want to give of purpose that you think is needed at this present moment.
Right. So I want to say to the people that, you know, I am from Upper Monkey Hill, St. Peter's. That is where I'm from. And my mom is Gerzel Mills Raspet, and my dad is Michael Heiliger. And that is basically my background in terms of my parents. I am a medical doctor by training, and I am a diplomat of the American Board of Internal Medicine also. And I'm a practicing physician, and I'm the candidate for constituency number 8. And basically, this is, I'm the candidate for constituency number 8. And so I'm in full campaign mode. I'm in full campaign mode at this point in time, which means that I'm on the road a lot and meeting the people at their doorsteps. So the activities that I'm doing presently are very, very active. But let me say that I've always been one who would have worked in the community. I was the president of the St. Peter's Football Club, president of the basketball club, executive member of the Eagle Boys Club, member of the 4-H Club. So I also attended at some point. So I have done a lot in terms of community work, and being a doctor, that involves a lot of community work, working with people. And so I see politics as a natural extension of all the things that I would have been doing in the community so far. I would like to say that I still have one of the longest sponsored football league outside of Bastia, outside of the National League, that what we call a community league, popularly known as the Bush League. I still sponsor that. I still sponsor my basketball league, which is one of the longest running basketball league. And last year, we were able to do the 3-on-3 competition, and that we wanted to spread through the whole country. But because of the virus, we have not been able to do that. But those are things I'm looking forward to. I still have my scholarship program where I sponsor a number of children. I have adopted a preschool that needed a lot of help, the Louisa Grant Preschool that is in Connery. And so we have been doing significant work there. And I have my elderly outreach medical home program where I visit the elderly and give free medical attention throughout the constituency and beyond. And therefore, I have been very, very active still in the community, even though I'm into politics full-time and my medical practice full-time. I just see all of it as service to my country, service to my people. So it is not very difficult in that regard I mean, if you were to look at my schedule, you realize how tight it is, but I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy reaching out to people, seeking solutions to situations and problems, facing challenges, building communities, and therefore that is what I bring to the political sphere. So it doesn't feel strange at all, because for me, politics is all about service, service to community, but most of all, service to our people.
Wow, for a young man and a doctor, you surely really busy. It's amazing that I'm sure many wouldn't even know all the community work that you are doing.
Yes.
And I'm going to be bold and say this, because in time of today, we are not seeing our young men, especially our young Black men, that even have the time to want to do extra curriculum, in the communities and being helpful and impactful for the younger ones as well, leaving that legacy for our generation.
Yes.
I would like to ask you this question, because I realize you mentioned about your mom. She is a Rasta. And you also mentioned about your dad. You said Mick Stokes?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So how was it for you growing up with your mom as a Rastafarian, or someone that has adopted the Rastafarian culture?
Yes.
What effects did it have on you, and how would you relate to the wide Rastafarian in the communities?
Well, I would say that growing up with her, she is a woman of faith and a very spiritual woman. And I think she's very, very grounded. And so I think that she, trained me in that way, or nurtured me in that way, to be grounded and to keep it simple and humble. And most of all, I think that I have inculcated in me the concept that every single person is equal to the other. That is deep down in my soul. And also to always give and give what you can give. And so she's very unselfish. She is, always giving, always open armed. And I learned those things very early. And so when people see me in the political campaign, in the political sphere, they realize that that is how I operate, but it's because of how I was brought up and those principles that were inculcated in me from a very young age. So I tell people that is who I am. And if you see my mother, you'll recognize that, that is how we are that is our DNA, so to speak. So I think that her having taught me those things, it's easy to translate those things into the politics. So the glim and the glamour and all those things surrounding, those are not the essence of politics at all. The essence really is reaching people, sharing with the people, helping to build together lives, community. Life is all about, that is what life is all about. So for me, that is what politics is also about. And so I love being in the community, love reaching out to people. And that is what I enjoy. I enjoy it deeply, because that is something that I value. That is how I was brought up. And so it has become a fairly easy transition. So I want to thank her for those principles that she instilled in me, and having those inside of me has really made this journey much easier.
Right. I don't want to stay on top of this, right? But I think I want to add this. So it appears that because your mom was a Rastafarian, perhaps maybe that's how come you have the love for that natural roots, like agriculture and that kind of home grass, sticking to the grassroots, but uplifting into the development and growth for the country and yourself and people as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Right, you're very correct with that. So even though I'm grounded in that way, I am a person who loves science and technology and so forth. And so I marry both things, and one doesn't exclude the other, really. So I do enjoy, academics in terms of studying and, having that science background. And so when you talk about the marrying of the agriculture part of it, I love the ground. I love to see food grow. That is how we grow up. I think the concept of feeding yourself, eating naturally, taking care of yourself in those ways. And so that also is part of it. And so when people see me talk passionately about agriculture and so forth, it is because of how I grew up. And I see the value really of being able to use the ground and the earth and different techniques and so forth to feed ourselves in a very wholesome and healthy way. And so that is also something I bring to the fore. So if I'm there, people must know that agriculture and the concept of feeding ourselves would be a fundamental part of my platform and the things that I would push for.
Wow. I'm not surprised because I personally know you, you know, I'm from Monkey Hill, St. Peters, but it's just even like, it gives me such a joy just to even hear it and being here with you at this, in this platform.
Yes.
I want, before I bring in you and Dr. Dwight Astafan, sorry, because I really want both of y'all to have an interaction with each other. I also want to ask you this. As a doctor, how passionate are you in this time of the pandemic healthcare, especially knowing the conditions of the JNS hospital? You know, it is very critical, the clinics in the Federation. How passionate are you when it comes to the COVID-19 and moving forward for St. Kitts and Nevis healthcare?
Right, so I'm very passionate about it because I think that we need to really improve our healthcare system. And I think that the COVID-19 has taught us that. In response to COVID-19, I think there were a lot of gaps in our healthcare system in terms of having the facility, even the specialists to deal with the situation. For example, we don't have epidemiologists, the specialists who specifically deal with this. We don't have an infectious disease specialist. This is another specialist who will deal with this, or even an ICU specialist. And therefore, if we had gotten hit really bad, I think that, you know, we would have had a tough time really to deal with it. So what I'm saying is that we need to prepare our health sector and our people really for anything that may come our way. And that is why I am saying that we have to invest more in healthcare. For example, the amount of money that we spend in healthcare has to increase. We have to allot a larger part of the GDP to healthcare. I think we need a brand new hospital. We need the equipment that, you know, would go with it. We also need for us to train more doctors as specialists, nurses as specialists. We need to look at our allied health. In that I'm talking about the EMS, those for physiotherapy, those who will do, you know, the pulmonary technicians, you know, the cardiac technicians and so forth, to deal with the most common diseases that are affecting our people and killing our people. You know, cancer, for example, we're only treating solid cancers, we cannot treat blood cancers. And so we have to improve upon these things. And so I'm passionate about it, and that is what I bring to bear in the political arena and what I bring as part of the Next Gen SKN team. I believe that everybody should have insurance, health insurance, and have access to good, affordable, quality, equitable healthcare. That is a passion of mine, and I think that the party's platform has really brought this in and is presenting it to the people. For example, I would say I have already have the plan for healthcare, even the hospital plan and the cost of it and so forth, because this will be a major, major priority. I don't want to see our people walking the streets with sponsor sheets and begging here and there when their life is at risk. We have to move beyond this. I would say one thing to wrap up this part of it. I had a patient who was a very rich patient, rich by his great-grandchildren don't have to work. That's the type of money he had. And one day his wife, he was sick, couldn't get some services, and his wife said, why is it we have 5-star hotels and a 0-star hospital? And I mean, it really touched me because St. Kitts and Nevis has hotels that rank among the best in the world. But when it comes to our healthcare system, it needs a lot of work. Therefore, it says that we have to rearrange our priorities somewhat so that healthcare can move up the ladder, get the investment that it needs to become a top tier system so that all of us will benefit. Every single person, every single family, every single community will benefit from a much improved, modernized healthcare system. And that is why I'm really passionate about it.
Dr. Joe, the Next Gen SKN really bring out a high standard platform 2020.
Yes.
I want to get Honorable, I keep on saying Honorable because, you know, the Dwight Astafan, he used to be in government. So Mr. Astafan, I also want you to be in this. These are the questions for both of you can answer. You know, when it comes to high standard, everybody is talking about leadership and they want strong leadership. Leadership requires commitment to be a leader, the ability to have empathy, the ability to connect. What other qualities would you bring as a leader for St. Kitts and Nevis? I also want, like I said, you and Dwyer Astafan to come in together. Okay?
Right. So I'll give you know.
No, Doc. She's asking what qualities will you bring to the leadership? So
Right.
I think it's more for you. I could play the backup guitar
Right.
after you've led the way.
No problem. I want to thank Dwyer, of course, for that. The quality I think I bring to the leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is vision. The vision to bring something new and fresh or much improved. We bring that. Also, what we bring to leadership is a sense of seriousness in our approach. That whatever we put into the manifesto, that we are serious about accomplishing it. This is not just putting something to win a vote. The reason why I say that, as I speak about the healthcare system, I've already said that I have the health plan. I have it in my hand, and I'm going to present it to the country. It's so detailed in terms of the cost of the hospital, how much it will cost in this phase and that phase. That is how detailed it is. And therefore, I'm saying that we are I bring that level of seriousness to the fore along with the vision. Now, there's a certain sense of humility also, because I think leadership has to be humble in the sense that you have to listen and you don't have all the answers. And if you would just sometimes be quiet and listen, the answers will come, and the answers will come from the people, because in the hearts of the people as a collective, the people do understand exactly what they need to advance themselves. But we don't want this to be a system of top down, but from the bottom up. And that is the best way to do it. So these are some of the qualities that we bring. But not only that, competency is important. Not because if you look at the next gen SKN team, you will see a lot of all of us are competent in the field that we speak about. And so I would speak about them. For example, you have Kenneth Douglas is one of the foremost sports persons in St. Kitts in terms of training and being around sports and organizing. I don't think you can find one or two more people as good as him. He ranks among the best. When it comes to culture and that type of expression, I mean, Connor's would have been, I think, 5 or 6 times Calypso King in St. Kitts and Nevis and even the Leeward Island. And he's also an engineer. When it comes to organization and youth organization and so forth, I mean, Jeffrey is among the best in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm not just saying that for saying its sake. When you look at Dr. Denzel Douglas, for whatever issues people might have, you just have to admit that he is a leader that brings a great deal of quality to the fore. When you look at the Honorable Marcella Liebert and the issues that she represents, you recognize clearly that she's among the best in St. Kitts and Nevis in what she does. So what I'm saying, even Steve, who was, the deputy director for Social Security, which is one of the strongest social security in the whole of the Caribbean, and was under his leadership also that it reached to that height. So I'm saying, when you look at all of us, and even Leon Natter, Leon Natter has been a sports organizer, work in the FIFA department. He's also an accountant by training, work at customs and as an accountant, understand those laws and the processes and so forth and how they work. So I'm saying, when you look at the next gen SKN team, as I bring to the leadership, those qualities that I spoke of. But when you look at my other colleagues, you can see that they bring seriousness, competency, vision, humility to the leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, to the next gen SKN. And that is what people will have in us. This is not just a paste and copy manifesto. This has substance to the point where we are already putting the blueprint together in how we will go about doing this. So I'm very excited about our manifesto, and I'm very excited about the team that I'm working with. And the other night when we had Honorable Dwyer Astafan, I call him Honorable because he served our country. Dwyer Astafan, who was part with us, who partake with us in the evening, last night's reconciliation activity, and also the Honorable Sam Conda, who was there. It brought joy to my heart to see that the labor movement can once again really come together as one. It pained me when I see Dwyer was not there and Sam was not there, and they had their legitimate reasons and so forth, and we have to respect that. But when I see that our party and our leader was big enough to say, you know what, let's reconcile. That was history. I don't know if do I understand yet the history-making event that we had last night. That will be spoken of for a lot of years and be written in books. But that has left an example for me. Speaking about it, it gives me goosebumps. It has left an example to me that no matter what the issues are, always see if there's a way you can talk it out, work it out, reconcile, come back together, build bridges, work out things. Last night event gave me hope, deep hope. And I want to thank him for the activity last night and the Honorable Sam Conda. I feel very, very pleased, and it will be an example. One young person said to me, this was not just a political event. I mean, these gentlemen really showed the country that reconciliation can take place. And so people are saying, well, if they can reconcile, all of us can reconcile at some level. So I don't know yet, maybe Dwyer can explain, but those are the type of things that I'm hearing, and the impact that it would have had even on myself and the rest of the country, I think, is certainly significant. And so I'm happy that I was able to be a part of it and to witness it. And I'll speak of it until, God decides that I'm not going to be on earth anymore.
I'm going to add to this because I'm a viewer and I look at it last night and I was really happy and I felt pleased being a Kittian because the level of the program, the platform was up there. The organizers, the young women, that was very impactful, that was powerful, and I really felt proud, and I got a lot of feedback from other persons that look at it, and it really set the standard. So the next gen SKN, I really would like to, wish you guys the best because you guys put out the best.
Yes, thank you.
Even just by saying it, some people offended by it, but truth be told. So, Mr. Estefan, come in, man.
Just waiting. Let me respond to my good young friend here, who I have a lot of respect for. Terrence and I have a special relationship.
Yes.
A special relationship.
Yes.
I remember when he was a boy, I used to see a twinkle in his eye. And it always, always stayed with me. That look he had in his eye. Very positive, very strong. Now, let me speak about him first, and then I'll speak about last night. One of the reasons Dr. Drew is going to be successful in providing service at the top level in this country, apart from his God-given intellect, are these things. One, he is a man of integrity. He's a humble man, and even if he had the slightest inclination to move away from humility, from his mother down to me, would bring him back in line. And there's no chance he's going to do that. Thirdly, he is extremely tenacious. You don't study medicine for all those years. Go and do it 4 years, then the 4 years, and the 5 years, and so. That's long haul brain work and dedication. His tenacity, and I happen to know that he never stopped campaigning since the last election. And that always is a sign of somebody you have to keep your eyes on. Tenacious. He is believable when he speaks. Quite apart from the passion, which some people can fake, he's not faking it. But when he talks about the hospital and the health system, You feel him and you say, this guy believes what he's saying. And he can and will deliver. And God knows, Lavi, that story he told about the billionaire whose wife said, you have 5-star hotels and a 1-star hospital. We all know that our health system is in a shambles.
It is.
Imagine you have a government in place which proclaims to love the people, especially the poor people who can't afford the air ambulance. They say they have surpluses. You go to the hospital and you can't get an aspirin. And cockroaches inhabiting the place like it's theirs. I won't go into details on that. I believe I've read these guys' manifesto. I've listened to Terrence and the others speak. I agree with him. They have a very smart slate of candidates. And when I say smart, I mean that in the best sense of the word. Very intelligent set of people. Terrence listens to people. He said it, but he didn't have to say it because he sits still and he listens. So he absorbs. He has a big brain and he absorbs it like a sponge and he finds his way to deal with it. And he has a number of other qualities which I find very appealing, not just as a person, but as somebody who wants the opportunity to serve at the highest level. And were I a constituent of number 8, this finger would certainly dip for him. It would certainly dip for him. I want to say a little bit about last night. And I'm supporting the Labour Party. I mean, everybody knows that. I said it last night, I've said it before. I think this team is not only far more capable than the team that is in, but it has better programs and it is better positioned intellectually, attitudinally, philosophically to deal with what is going to be the most challenging 12 to 36 months that this country has faced in the last 100 years. If you think the past 3 months have been tough, and they have been, think of the next 6. And in stormy waters, you want a good captain and a good crew. Now, last night, Terrence.
Yes.
Quite apart from the fact that Dr. Douglas and Sam and I go back a long way and have been through the rough and the calm, the ups and the downs. We've gone our circle. But I will tell you and the public now for the first time that you were a main source of inspiration in my decision to do what I'm doing. And the other youngsters, I call you all youngsters in the team, because Dr. Douglas knows, and I know, and everybody knows, and I don't think he wants to be around forever. He wants his group, which is the group I'm supporting, and I believe the deserving group, the opportunity, because he's been in the wilderness for 5 years. The Labour Party has learned lessons.
Yes.
It has learned its lessons. The Labour Party, to me, is in a more positive and national interest trajectory than the incumbents. The incumbents are on a trajectory of arrogance and corruption. And if you put them back in there, it would give them license to do even worse and more of what they're doing, which is not in the best interest of the country. And I'll go into some serious detail on this tomorrow night in the operating room, which will be the last operating room program before the election and maybe the last ever to happen. Tomorrow night might be my last in the operating room. But I got a lot of inspiration from you.
Yes.
And I got a lot of inspiration from Kenny, who I've known since he was a small boy playing cricket. We had the Youth Instructional Cricket League. Nata, who was also in that league. Rensford, who I know is a man of tremendous experience insofar as financial management and administration are concerned. Jeffrey Hanley, but Marcel and I go back a long way. We're veterans, and you all have a mix of experience and youth and a high level. And people must understand this. To run a country properly, you must not only have good character and commitment and national fervor and all of those things. You must have the required intelligence to handle the job. And I think you all are 100% more, 100 times more qualified than the other group. But last night to me was very heartwarming, very fulfilling, and I really feel good about it. I know Sam does too. We've been getting phone calls and messages all day saying how glad people are that this has happened and so forth. But I want you and your young colleagues to know, tell them that you all were a great inspiration. And just coming in there, that room last night and sitting down with you all, that gave me a further bit of energy. I had to control myself when Dr. Douglas and Sam and I went before the microphone to make sure I said as little as possible because I wanted to talk, but I'll talk tomorrow night. So thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All righty. This is so powerful. I'm really excited. Like I said, just having you guys here, because when we think of politics in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are not really getting to know the individual personally and knowing what they're really about and what they are going to be bringing. Because it really boils on Dr. Ju, like, okay, who you're backing, and people get personal and put the emotions in it, and distracting the candidates or the people from actually getting to know the candidates and what they're bringing and the plans for the country. We have just about 5-6 minutes before we wrapped up, because the whole social media is so packed with you guys have the information to bring to the people. But I want to get in this question to you, Dr. Ju.
Yes.
I understand that many persons are undecided for various reasons to go to vote. What can you say to encourage the undecided voters to come out and vote on election day, June 5th, 2020?
Right. I understand that there's a certain percentage of these persons, and a lot of them, they have their legitimate reasons to be undecided at this point in time. But I want to refresh them or to introduce them to the Next Gen SKN plan, a plan really which is all about the people. And so I would say that the team that we have is a team that has a new vision, a new plan, ideas to take our country forward. When you look at the Next Gen SKN plan and you read that manifesto, you will quickly recognize that this is all about the people. Our party, of course, has been in opposition for the last 5 years. We went through a process of introspection and consultation with the people. So this manifesto is not something out of our heads or figment of anyone's imagination. It is really a product of consultation and listening keenly to the people over the many years. And therefore, it says really that this is all about you, the people. For example, for the young people who have had many difficulties advancing themselves, for example, we recognize a lot of young people who are coming from universities with student debt around their neck, dragging them down, have to wait until they're in the 40s to advance their lives. What we have done is that we have reduced interest on student loans from 9% to 5%. That is what we're going to do. And then we are in the business now of making sure that tertiary level education become more accessible and affordable. So the CFBC, we will make it tuition free so that our students don't have to pay. Many students drop out because the parents can't afford to send their children to CFBC. So they can look forward to that. Those who go to university, we are putting a plan in place to give these students a $25,000 grant over their years of study. Why are we doing this in education? Because if you look at the most developed countries in the world, the educational systems, they are free. So it means that there's a direct link between advancement of any society and the level of education. And therefore, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, which has the strong tradition of making education available, accessible, affordable to the people in the next gen SKN, we are saying we are taking it a step further. We introduce comprehensive secondary education. We want to move to comprehensive tertiary level education. So this is a first step in that direction. CFBC become free and giving our student lower interest rates on student loans and giving student grants to go and study. For example, when I went to Germany, even not being a member of parliament, I went to Germany, and I want to thank the leader of the opposition then, the Honorable Dr. Zenzil Douglas, who, when I presented to him, he supported it. I went to Germany, and there in Germany, we are going to form what you call a Germany St. Kitts Friendship Organization. And through that vehicle, we will have our people going to Germany for many different things to study technology, advancing, and so forth. And so we'll have a casual student, and also we'll have exchange in sports, especially football. We are now discussing having teams from Germany coming down here to practice during the winter time and have our own people who can go to Germany, and different programs so that we can enhance the level of football and so in St. Kitts and Nevis. So those who are interested in sports, there is a category for them. We'll have a sport academy. We are taking it a bit further. We want people who are very talented in sports to go to a school where they can develop their sporting acumen and skills and so forth, but still have the academics to join with it, so they can have scholarship to go to North America, Europe, and different places. And that is what we will do in education. We will revolutionize it in the sense that we will introduce the technology in the classroom. We want the concept of smart classrooms to have our students exposed to the technology, to give them laptops and iPad. These are programs that were there before. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm just throwing them out. So that now in the COVID-19, where students cannot go into a physical classroom, had we kept the program, we would have already mastered how to use virtual classrooms to teach our students. Now, a lot of students are suffering because we had not mastered it, because the last government stopped that program, and now they're trying to reintroduce it during a crisis, and many students are affected, and especially those who might have come from homes where the parents are not well formally educated for different reasons. They have been affected significantly. So for education, we are going to do that. For healthcare, we are going to build a brand new hospital. And we are going to make sure that we have the necessary equipment and so forth. And we're going to send our young doctors, our doctors who came back that were on STEP. Can you imagine we had doctors on the STEP program? We are going to send them back, send them to other countries and so forth, so that they can specialize and come back as heart doctors, brain doctors, skin doctors, lung doctors, so that we can have them here at our hospital for our people when our people need them the most. For those in agriculture, we're going to reboot agriculture. And as I've said before, we want to start to get into the business of producing enough food to feed ourselves, but we have to start somewhere. So we'll bring back in the greenhouse program. We'll do what you call smart agriculture, climate smart agriculture, which is a concept that I'm introducing here again, which will be part of the next gen SKN. So from healthcare to education to agriculture, even the economy, we are saying that we have formed an economic recovery council, even in opposition, so that once we take office, we can hit the ground running. And they would study the economy, come up with recommendation of how we can overcome this COVID-19 economic tragedy, so to speak. And so that is already being put forward. We'll reduce the VAT from 17 to 13% to help our people. And we'll also reboot the economy by having diversification. We want a lot more small businesses. And so we'll have a small business ministry. That ministry will deal only with small businesses, where we'll help with grants, where we'll help and help people to formulate their business strategies. They can come for help on varying levels, because we want these small businesses to survive here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We'll reduce the taxes on small businesses and make sure that they can keep more of their money to hire more people and to invest in their businesses, so the businesses can be, of course, successful. We'll build homes for our people, and that will also help to boost the economy, because too many persons are in multi-generational homes, which means you have grandmother, mother, children. And so we are saying we need to help and facilitate persons to move out of these situations so that they can be really on their own. So the next gen SKN has a platform and an idea. And when it comes to it, we believe in good governance. I want to say as I wrap up this part, that the only party in St. Kitts that has signed on to a code of ethical conduct while in public office is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. I have encouraged John L. Powell as the chairman of PAM. I am chairman of Labour. I have encouraged him to get his candidates to sign on. He has not done it, and we know the troubles they're having over there. And I'm saying that we need a code of ethical conduct signed before the people as a contract with the people, that we will conduct ourselves in good manner while we are looking at the affairs of the people's, of the country, of the people's business. Without that, we can become corrupt. Not that we are without fault, but if you were to sign on to something that would be a contract with the people to hold your feet to the fire, I think people would tend to act more in good ways. And so we want good governance. With all this said, we want good governance to be, of course, the foundation on which all of this is laid. And therefore, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Next Gen SKN, offers this vision and these ideas, these plans to our people. And I hope that would help the undecided to really make up their minds and vote for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We have a vision, we have the people to work it, because at the end of the day, it's all about you, all about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We are running down, so we're going to wrap up now. So, Honorable Dwight Estefan, can you come in and do your closing remarks before Dr. Joe?
I'll just close by assisting Terence in one or two things. One, I think a good reason to support the Labour Party also to vote is that the present administration promised but were unable, because of incompetence, to deliver on the universal healthcare program. That is vitally necessary. Any self-respecting country has that, universal healthcare, access to it. That is one major reason. The students, our students who are stranded overseas in universities, stranded and very stressed out, and their parents and other loved ones here. The Prime Minister has refused to pay to bring them back. You're talking about a few $100,000 EC dollars. And it would bring them so much solace and comfort to be back home. The Labour Party, I was told by one of their leaders last night, that that is a no-brainer for them. That is a no-brainer for them. They would have no problem spending $200,000-300,000 on something like that. Whereas the present incumbents would have no problem having a town hall meeting to promote themselves, but the taxpayers would have to pay for it. They prefer to use taxpayers' money to promote themselves rather than to help the young people. So all of those young people's relatives in St. Kitts and Nevis, well, St. Kitts, who are indifferent or not sure they're going to vote, this is a good reason to go to vote. And if you're a young person and you look at this party's manifesto and you listen to what these candidates are saying, I think your choice is clear. If you're an old person like me, your choice is equally clear. So this is no time for doubt or indifference. You have to go there and get it done. As Obama said, vote. That's it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dwight Estefan. It's a pleasure having you.
My pleasure, dear.
Dr. Terence Jew?
Yes, I want to thank Dwight, of course, for his words of endorsement. I also want to thank you, Lavi. It's really pleases my heart to see what you are doing. I mean, I never thought you would venture into something like this, knowing you as a beautician and a hairstylist. It shows that you're a multi-dimensional person. You're not just one track, and you're doing an excellent job. And I really do appreciate what you are doing. I want to say to those from St. Kitts and Nevis who are listening to my voice at this time, that the Next Gen SKN really offers hope, a new vision, a new direction in our country. I'm asking you to vote for the candidate in your constituency. And for those of you who might be overseas, you can have a conversation with your people at home so that they you can help them to make up their mind. Some of the information I might have shared, you can share it with them. And our manifesto is in the app form, again, Next Gen SKN style. You can download the app and go through it and section by section and see the section that might interest you the most, and you can share it with your family members. And we are saying, we are asking you for the opportunity to serve you. And I wrap up by saying, vote for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Vote for Dr. Terence Drew, for the future is brighter with the Next Gen SKN Labour Party. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming. Also, Dwight Astafan, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you, viewers. Next week, hopefully, depends on how the election goes. I'm hoping to have the real talk with Dr. Holiday. As we go through the pandemic with the COVID-19, she's going to be here to share some experience and educate the public, as some people go through depression, mental illness, and a lot of things going forward, because it's really a pandemic, and a lot of people are hurting and stressed out. So I'm looking forward to join with Dr. Holiday. She's from St. Kitts and Nevis. But of course, I will let you guys know on the thread. Once again, thank you guys for being here. I am Laverne Davis of The Real Talk. Have a wonderful evening. St. Kitts and Nevis, stay well, stay safe. Vote on election day. My choice would be Labour. And as you know, I endorse Dr. Drew. Have a wonderful evening, folks.
Thank
Good
you
night,
very
thank
much.
you. Good
You're
night, Doc.
welcome.
Hi, I'm Bjorn Hanley, and I am your Nevis Reformation Party candidate for constituency number 10, Gingerland. I am a holder of a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Business and Management, and also the founder and CEO of a small media company, BHC Media. Previous to that, I spent some years in England studying and gaining experience, and thus this is why I decided to put myself forward so that I can implement a number of plans and programs for the good people of Gingerland. So, in order to deliver the number of plans and programs, I am asking you, the good people of Gingerland, to please vote for me so that together we can enhance the lives of the people. Once you elect me into office, I will work closely with local entrepreneurs, small businesses, and local investors in order to deliver jobs, jobs, and more jobs.
NRP Vision. NRP ready to transform Nevis. Vote NRP.
In this post-COVID environment, and with our need to look in the development of a proactive post-COVID strategy, I am here to endorse the candidacy of Dr. Kelvin Daly. He has a competitive advantage in agriculture as a trained agriculturist. He has a competitive advantage as an educator, and he has a competitive advantage with respect to science and technology. As such, I am endorsing him because I am sure he can develop programs in education to address the needs of our students at college and at the technical level. In agriculture, he is a key player for food security. And given the post-COVID environment where many things are going to be done online and in a virtual context, I endorse Dr. Daly to develop the mechanisms for us to function in a post-COVID world with technology at the forefront.
NRP Visionary. NRP ready to transform Nevis. Vote NRP.
To the people of Nevis, this is your duty in the quest for peace, progress, and prosperity.
Going to Trinidad was an experience, you know? I wish the program could come back soon, though. Because, I mean, the younger youths, them need things to do. You know what I mean? They need to do things. They need to get creative, you know? And in Trinidad, I did auto mechanics. I learned a lot of additional things to what I already know. It was a good experience. Since government changed, it looked like things changed, everything changed. You know? Work ain't coming like before. So, as I said, if the training from Trinidad could come back, as well as more work. To Dr. Daly, you know, he seems like he's ready to work with the young guys, with the young people, I must say. Starting good. So, I would advise anybody to vote for Mr. Daly, because he's ready to work.
NRP Visionary. NRP ready to transform Nevis. Vote NRP.
As youths of today, we are the leaders of tomorrow. What are you waiting for? Join the NRP Youth Arm today.
We voting for NRP, the performance party.
Some of the issues that are important to me are the cost of education. The NRP has a history of offering youths like me scholarships so I could fulfill my dreams to be whatever I want to be. Lack of jobs has also been a topic amongst my peers. Every year, more than 300 students leave school and enter the workforce, but the current government has failed to create any jobs.
NRP Visionary ready to transform Nevis.
As youth, we cry out. We are vocal, and I, for one, cannot contain it any longer. But the current premier hears no one. We complain about the lack of employment opportunities, and he shows us his socks. We complain about the lack of opportunities to obtain a university degree, and he brags about lobster being a part of his diet. We cry in want of a better way for ourselves, a better future. And he says, look at me in my new blue suit. Are these basic things too much to ask of our premier? I think not. His record indicates that he does not care and that the job is more than he can handle. Perhaps it's time for him to go.
NRP Visionary ready to transform Nevis. Sitting around and saying that you will not vote because things are bad is not a reason to stay at home, but it is the perfect reason to go out and vote for someone like Dr. Daly. Voting is a platform for change, and quite possibly the most important one at that. To vote in candidates that want to change the problem you see. NRP Visionary ready to transform Nevis.
Voting matters. From age 18, I registered and have been voting since it is important to play my part and your part as youths in this democratic process to elect our leaders, men and women who have our best interests as individuals at the core of what they do.
NRP visionary, ready to transform Nevis.
Hi, I'm Beyond Hanley, and I am your Nevis Reformation Party candidate for constituency number 10, Gingerland. I am a holder of a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Business and Management, and also the founder and CEO of a small media company, BHC Media. Previous to that, I spent some years in England studying and gaining experience, and thus, this is why I decided to put myself forward so that I can implement a number of plans and programs for the good people of Gingerland. So, in order to deliver the number of plans and programs, I am asking you, the good people of Gingerland, to please vote for me so that together we can enhance the lives of the people. Once you elect me into office, I will work closely with local entrepreneurs, small businesses, and local investors in order to deliver jobs, jobs, and more jobs.
NRP Vision. NRP, ready to transform Nevis. Vote NRP.
In this post-COVID environment, and with our need to look in the development of a proactive post-COVID strategy, I am here to endorse the candidacy of Dr. Kelvin Daly. He has a competitive advantage in agriculture as a trained agriculturist. He has a competitive advantage as an educator, and he has a competitive advantage with respect to science and technology. As such, I am endorsing him because I am sure he can develop programs in education to address the needs of our students at college and at the technical level. In agriculture, he is a key player for food security. And given the post-COVID